Now, there's supposed to be another quest over in the Steps of Nald, which I think is where we are. Yeah, remembering the past. Let's go ahead and go do that. Nananji. Remembering the past. Nananji appears to be deep in thought. The determined set of your jaw. The dynamic presence. As if you've ever ready to leap into action. There's no mistake. You're an adventurer, and a dependable one at that. Tell me, are you familiar with the name Louisoix Olivier? Maybe. Of course I am. Of course you are, of course you are. Forgive me my suddenness. I am Nananji, a budding writer, and I seek to pen a biography of the great man. In particular, I wish to cover his movements leading up to the calamity, and to that end, I've requested an interview with the Immortal Flames. He served the Eorzean Alliance as a tactician, you see, so there ought to be someone in the Order who had dealings with him. And while my request has thankfully been accepted, there's just one problem. I don't have much experience conducting interviews, and I'm worried whether I'll be able to do a proper job. As an adventurer, you're doubtless used to dealing with people, thus I would like to ask you to accompany me in the capacity of an assistant. It would be tremendously reassuring to simply have you watching on. And if you're amiable afterwards, I'd like to interview you as well for your own impressions. For your troubles, I'll be certain to credit you as a collaborator. So please, won't you help me with my biography? That the memories of the calamity might be preserved for future generations? I'm in your debt. To begin with, please come with me to Camp Drybone in eastern Nathanelin. There's a place I'd like to visit ahead of the interview. Okay, let's head over to Drybone. Need to figure out if I'm going to use this in the video or not. I probably should. But for a different part. There you are. To explain why we're here. Oh, but I haven't asked you about your name. How am I supposed to credit you if I don't even know that much? Brilliant Mason? The Brilliant Mason? Champion of Eorzea? Small wonder I felt you were dependable. With one such as you helping me, everything will surely go well. But getting back to business, the interview I've arranged is with an officer of the Immortal Flames. As there's still time, however, I thought we'd pay a visit to the nearby graveyard first, so I can explain my motivation for the biography. I come from a small village near the Carteneau Flats. It was burned down in the calamity, and those who died were laid to rest here, my parents among them. It's hardly an uncalming tale. After the dreaded Primal emerged from Dalmund, he unleashed fiery devastation across the length and breadth of Eorzea. But as much as the calamity has scarred the realm, it is quickly becoming just another event in the history books. Beyond occasionally giving thanks to the Archons that Eorzea was saved, people spare it a little thought. But when you've lost so many loved ones, it's hard to feel that anything was saved. That's why I wish to know more about Louisoix. By learning about his past and the Eorzea's salvation, I hope that I will attain closure. That's my motivation for writing the biography. Now then, in preparation for the interview, let's review what is known about our subject. It's difficult to define exactly when the Seventh Emerald Calamity was set in motion. Many historians, however, point to the Empire's Meteor Project, which sought to bring Dalmund down upon Eorzea. Is this supposed to be the advertisement campaigns for the war? It was the year 1562 of the 6th Astral Era. Seeking to combat the impressive threat, Louisoix founded the Circle of Knowing, an order whose objective was the preservation of Eorzea. Through its members, the Archons of Charlian, the Circle worked to unite the nations of Eorzea in common cause. The result was the formation of the Grand Companies in the 3 city-states: Immortal Flames, the Order of the Twin Adder, and the Maelstrom. None of these would exist now were it not for their efforts. Oh, I didn't know that. And then, in the year 1572, when the situation was coming to a head, Louisoix himself made the journey to Eorzea in secret and engaged with each of the nations. What took place during that time is that what I seek to learn in the interview. The man we're due to meet is the contact from the Free Brigade, a unit formed of adventurers, and he apparently had Louisoix's assistance for a mission. The meeting place is Highbridge, to the northeast. It's more or less time now, so let's make our way there. Alright, let's head on over there. Yeah, right at the bridge. I remember when I was still free trial, I actually came over here to farm outgoat skins or hides so that I could level up leather worker. Because I couldn't trade on the market. Hello, generic soldier number 3. You're the ones who seek an interview. I must say, I wasn't expecting seeing the champion of Eorzea. I'm Nananji, the writer who made the request, and Brilliant is kindly accompanying me for the interview. I can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your busy schedule to humor me. Come now, no need for the thanks. Like everyone, I hold Louisoix in the highest esteem. If you wish to know about him, well then Aubrey is always glad to oblige. That's the light beams. Without further ado, then, let's begin. My understanding is that you had dealings with Louisoix. Could you please tell me the details? As you know, our grand companies were formed thanks to the Circle of Knowing, but it wasn't until Dalmut began turning red that Louisoix first appeared. I guess they didn't want to do a full 1.0 recap. It began with the word that an elderly Elizan man had come to Gridania who held the key to vanquishing primals. Upon learning this, I sent an adventurer of the Free Brigade to make contact with him. I later learned that the Maelstrom and the Order of the Twin Adder had done the very same. At that time, our companies weren't yet collaborating. Each one only thought to stay ahead of the others. If truth be told, at first we didn't think much of Louisoix, only that he was the leader of the scholars who would study particular prophecies. But when the adventurers reported back, our opinion of the man completely changed. With his spellcraft, Louisoix had opened the way into Ifrit's domain, and by the hand of the dauntless adventurers, the Lord of the Inferno was brought low. Yep, that's 1.0 in Ifrit fight. Alas, many defeats preceded that victory. It was reported that countless charred corpses lay strewn in the bowl of embers. Now, the mission also yielded a shocking revelation. Following the battle, Legatus Nail von Durnus of the 7th Imperial Legion appeared and told the adventurer that the hour of reckoning was at hand. The Dalmud would soon fall and cleanse the land. That was when we realized the Empire was behind the Red Moon's anomaly. So thanks to Louisoix, you came to be aware of the Meteor Project. Still, it doesn't seem like you had much to act upon. As you say, afterwards we scrambled to learn all we could about the project. For a blessing, we had the cooperation of the Garlean director, Sid Garland, of whom you know well. Oh, defector, not director. That makes way more sense. He revealed the details of the project, that it utilized a transmission tower to pluck Dalmud from the heavens, all for the purpose of purging us savages from the realm. Back when Garleans didn't have any backstory. I could continue telling you what I know, but from this point on, there's someone better suited than I am. If you're interested, I would be glad to introduce you to that individual. What say you? Well now, we'd be keen to speak of this person indeed. Very well. I will send word to the Adder's Nest. If you could take yourselves to Alpaku Falls, I'll arrange a meeting there. To go to such lengths to help us, I can't say how grateful I am. Do not mention it. As I said, I hold Louisoix in the highest esteem. He was the one who brought our three nations together, and nothing would please me more than for him to be remembered. Well, it's past time I return to Ul'dah. I pray that coming interview bears you fruit. Wait, weren't you going to introduce us? Lieutenant certainly has great respect for Louisoix. And thanks to him, we have another promising interview. Come, let's head to Gridania, where the Archon had sojourned. This is interesting, because like, obviously I didn't play 1.0, so I have no idea so I don't really have a clear idea of how the story went. Plus, we just don't really know much about Louisoix outside, like, even if you played 1.0, I don't think you got that much. Like, the story just wasn't that good. And, like, looking at 1.0 footage, it just was not a good game. Like, you can literally see, like, even just the movement and the map layouts, and, like, it looked like it was, like, 5 years old, even at the time. Oops, hold on. Let's just teleport to Gridania. Ah, there it is. Hello, Nananji. So, this is Alpaku Falls. The conspicuous lack of the creatures aside, it's quite a beautiful place. Now then, the person we're to meet should be along shortly. Okay, it's just gonna be another, it's gonna be a twin adder person. Wonder if this person was from 1.0. I was told there were those who wished to learn about Louisoix, and who should one of them be but the champion of Eorzea? Well met. I am Lieutenant Psycho Full of the Order of the Twin Adder. Nananji, at your service. Thank you for sparing the time to speak with me. Speak with us. Think nothing of it. I must say, though, that Lieutenant Aubrey chose the perfect spot for the subject matter. Because this is old Gridania. Louisoix spent much time in rumination here in the days before the calamity. We Gridanians, being somewhat reserved by nature, at first, the citizens kept their distance. But in time, people warmed to him. He patiently lent an ear to their troubles, healing hurts and offering counsel, and gradually earned their trust. To ignore the plight of those one might conceivably save is not wisdom, it is indolence. Louisoix spoke those words, and lived up to them. He was the epitome of a Charlean sage, and I recall myself being moved. Now, shortly after we had become aware of the meteor project, the hamlet of Quarry Mill was attacked by the primal Garuda. Both soldiers and civilians were among the casualties. The Order of the Twin Adder moved to vanquish the primal, but we were not alone. Through Louisoix's mediation, we had the support of not only our sister Grand Companies, but capable adventurers the realm over besides. Using an artifact known as the Vortex Feather, the Archon opened the way for a band of adventurers to sally forth into Garuda's turbulent domain, where they felled the fearsome being. Upon her defeat, however, the Primal's dispersed ether did not return to the land. Instead, it was absorbed into the Red Moon, Daldmund, and they reused that for Ultima in ARR. And then the Empire constructed a new base in Mordona. The Elder Seedseer saw the need for decisive action and put forth a proposal. The formal reformation of the Yorzel Alliance, which had for so long lain dormant. The initial response from the other nation was lukewarm at best. They felt that the burden to be borne by each party was excessive, and they were loath to do aught that would place them at a disadvantage against their rivals. Yay. But the revelation that a lunar transmitter had been erected in the Imperial base prompted a change of heart. The tower controlled Daldmund's descent, and if it could be destroyed, then the Meteor project would be forestalled. After having constantly been at the back foot, our nations were motivated to join hands, and that we might strike a decisive blow against the enemy. Thus was the Eorzean Alliance reformed, as the Circle of Knowing had hoped. At the same juncture, Louisoix was asked to join the Alliance as a tactician, and in that capacity, he provided sage counsel to our heads of state. So, although he was first treated with wariness, Louisoix earned our trust through his actions and paved the way to enduring cooperation between our nations. Indeed, were it not for him, we all would have perished divided. We owe Louisoix a great debt. Now then, I expect you might be interested in hearing about the operation to destroy the lunar transmitter. But for that tale, I would recommend you seek out another, a decorated soldier who actually took part in the operation. Although a hardened warrior, she is quite friendly and should be glad to regale you with her experiences. Should I send her word on your behalf? Sure. We'd be duly grateful. Very well. If you could take her yourselves to the Maelstrom Command in Limsa Lominsa, I should see to it that she knows to expect you. With that, I shall take my leave. I pray that the biography is a success. Everyone has been more helpful than I dared hope. It seems Louisoix had quite an influence on others. That interview gave us some valuable insights into this character, and I'm eager to see what we learn next. Come, let's head to Limsa Lominsa. I'd seen a bunch of people gathered in Limsa watching a cutscene, and I was wondering if one of these quests were a part of it. It looks like it is. Let's head on over to Limsa. Actually, I can just return. There it is. Yeah, I'd seen people wait here. I didn't know what it was for. Okay, Nananji, let's meet up with this next person. And there it is, Maelstrom Command. Shall we then? Captain Mason. Of course, because I'm in the Maelstrom, because it's close. Captain Mason, ever a sight for sore eyes, and you must be Nananji. Rashat Rika, at your service. I understand you wish to hear about the operation to destroy the lunar transmitter. Indeed, I'm penning a biography on the Archon Louisoix, you see, for which I'm interviewing people who had dealings with him. I truly appreciate your time. You're very welcome. I would be glad to assist, even if it wasn't a request from Lieutenant Fulk. Now then, to continue where he left off. It was shortly after the Eorzean alliance was formed. Our scouts returned with word from the 8th Legion had activated the lunar transmitter in their fortress in Mordona. Now known as Castrum Sentry, the fortress was originally called Castrum Novum, before the 14th restored and renamed it. In order to break through its defense and destroy the transmitter, that our three nations joined hands, and we were determined to succeed. The strategy that Louisoix proposed was elegant in its simplicity. While our main force drew the Garlean's attention with an all-out siege, an elite band of adventurers would infiltrate the castrum and make for our objective. We had entrusted adventurers with ridding us of primals. Now we entrusted them with the very fate of Eorzea. I still remember the operation as if it were yesterday. Though we met with fierce resistance, we fought more fiercely still, no matter the costs. We had to ensure that the adventurers had a chance to strike at the transmitter. And when the messenger arrived bearing word that they had succeeded, it still makes my heart soar to recall that moment of triumph. That day, we learned that, by standing together, the people of Eorzea could oppose even the might of the Empire. 'Tis no exaggeration to say that the victory paved a way for Eorzea's future. Without it, there would not have been an Operation Archon. Alas, it wasn't all glad tidings, for though we destroyed the transmitter, Nael von Darnus appeared and claimed that they no longer needed the device to bring down Dalmud, that he himself had the power to do so. Great writing. Sarcasm. So long as Van Darnus lived, the threat of destruction remained, and so, branding him an enemy to all life in Eorzea, the nations of the Alliance undertook a desperate manhunt. At length, they located him in Korthus, and sent their greatest warriors to hunt him down. Leading that formidable band was the adventurer whom they called the Warrior of Light. Hey, that's me. And though no records remain of the fierce encounter, one thing is certain. At battle's conclusion, Nael von Darnus was sealed in the coils of Bahamut. Nael von Darnus was brought low. As you know, however, our woes did not end with the White Raven, for Louisoix and his disciples determined that Dalmud would continue to fall. In a last-ditch bid to prevent the realm's annihilation, the Circle of Knowing issued a request to the Orsian Alliance to secure the Carteneau Flats, where the Red Moon was suspected to crash. It was no simple task, for the entirety of the 7th Legion had amassed in Carteneau, but it was necessary in order to perform a ritual to stop Dalmud, a ritual that invoked the power of the 12. So it was the Battle of Carteneau was joined, and I dare say you know how the tale continues. To everyone's shock, the Elder Primal Bahamut emerged from Dalmud and proceeded to unleash his fury upon the realm. Aye, and though all bore witness as Louisoix initiated the ritual, none remember what came to pass afterwards, neither what happened to Bahamut, nor why the realm was reborn. Realm reborn. The haze that afflicted memories of the calamity, but people remember events prior to that moment, yes? If so, do you know if anyone was near Louisoix during the battle? Someone may have spoken with him. Yeah, that person's right here. If someone was near him, I'm afraid I do not know. He was atop a rise for the ritual, while I was a good distance away on the front lines. My apologies. No, please don't apologize. You've shared a wealth of information, and I couldn't ask for more. Well, if you're satisfied, then so am I. With that, I shall return to my duties. I look forward to reading the biography when it's finished. Well, that was interesting. Let's go and talk to Nananji and wrap up this one, and then I think there's one more after us. Now I have a grasp of events leading up to the calamity, and yet... Oh, forgive me. I was deep in thought. In no small part due to your help, I've managed to learn a great deal. But there is still more I wish to know. Might I trouble you to accompany a little longer? If you're willing, please let me know. That was cool. There's still one more quest. Oh, right, and then that gets me the framer kit. Let's go ahead and talk to Nananji and continue on with this next one. Preserving the future. Nananji desires more information for Louisoix's biography. You'll continue to accompany me then? Wonderful. Come, let's head to the Drowning Wench to discuss our next move. Our research proceeds apace so far. We've even learned things not found in literature. But tell me, based on what you've heard from other interviewees, what is your opinion on Louisoix? I don't know. He's an exceptional leader. He had a difficult task. Others deserve more credit. Don't be a jerk. I agree. He possessed great leadership. If not, he couldn't have established the framework to realize his plans, no matter how brilliant they may have been. What struck me was how grateful the interviewees were for Louisoix for bringing their nations together in cooperation. It was nothing short of necessary for our survival. Yet, in knowing this, I can't help but wonder, in his capacity as tactician, it seems to me that he had done more than enough devising a plan and facilitating its execution. He went far beyond that, risking life and limb on the front lines for a land not his own. Perhaps he needed to be there for the ritual, perhaps he felt a sense of duty. Even so, as noble as it is to desire to help others, what good is it if you end up sacrificing yourself? What was it that compelled Louisoix to go to Carteneau, and what went through his mind as the battle unfolded? In order to do his biography justice, I feel I need to know these things. If Louisoix had people near him at the time, perhaps he shared words with them in his final moments, words that provided him some insights. But where to begin searching for such individuals, assuming they exist? Oh no, I have to read his dialogue. Sorry, friends. I couldn't help overhear your conversation. Just so happens I know a bloke as served among Louisoix garden at Carteneau. Truly? You know someone who was with him? Aye, as far as I'm aware, it wasn't keeping the fact secret. Just for a good measure, though. Why do you want to speak with him? I can't do what his accent is actually supposed to be. It's supposed to be like a pirate, more of a pirate. It's supposed to be a pirate accent, but I keep doing like an English Cockney accent. Louisoix biography, eh? Or like a Southern American accent. In that case, I reckon the book will be willing to cooperate. I'm not gonna try and read it correctly. Ornigusiums is his name, and he was a lieutenant of the Maelstrom. After the calamity, he took to adventuring, so to be a greater help to the common folk. A Maelstrom officer turned adventurer? We'd be most keen to speak with him. Where might he be found? When Orn dropped in the other day, he said that he had business in the Morby dry docks. If you're lucky, you might be still there. Understood. We're in your debt. I'll just put it on your tab. Why you just ignore me? We can't let this chance pass us by, Brilliant. Let us take ourselves to the dry docks at once. You gonna pay that tab? Sir, you haven't paid. Well, let's head on down to Lower Louisoix and head to the dry docks. Okay, where are you? There's Nananji. Right, where could Orn be? In hindsight, we should have asked what he looks like. His name would suggest he's a Midlander, but well, nothing for it but to make inquiries. Let's split up for the task and meet again here. Okay, let's head over to the conveniently placed red circle. Orange? Sure. There's someone. Hello, sir. Orn? As it happens, I spoke with him just earlier. He said that he wanted to buy flowers, so I directed him to a vendor. Not sure where he is as of now, though. Okay, let's see if the flower vendor. There they are. Or there it is. Veteran shipwright. Looking for Orn Goincome, you say? Don't know anybody by that name, I'm afraid. I did walk by an unfamiliar fellow just now, though. Over by the mark of the spinner. He had a flower in his hands, so he caught my eye. Oh, that might be our man. Let's see, where is he? There we go. Shopkeep. I'm sorry, but I've only just started helping out here. I'm still learning our customers' names. I couldn't say if it's a person you're after, but a man did come by earlier who appeared to be an adventurer. He bought a Nymea lily, and that we're currently trailing. You have an inkling as to where Orn might be. Time to rejoin Nananji. Okay. I don't know where my character thinks he is, but let's just meet up with Nananji. There you are, Brilliant. Were you able to learn anything? He likes flowers. So a man who could be Orn bought a Nymea lily, then went to the mark of the spinner? If we hurry there, we might be able to find him. Let's go. Okay, now let me go ahead and switch over to the new mount, so that we can see it. Oh, that's really bright. Jeez. Bright and big. I got a little bit used to my chair mount. And using a smaller mount. Oh, jeez, that's way too bright and big. Yeah, I'm not using that. What was this again? Hello, not Thancred. Begging your pardon, sir, but are you Lieutenant Orin Guincum? I haven't been a lieutenant for years, but that's me. What can I do for you? Is this a 1.0 NPC? I realize this is sudden, but... So you're writing Louisoix's biography, and want to hear my account as someone who was near on hand at Carteneau. There must be a reason that you're here too. The Warrior of Light who led us to victory on the Operation Archon. Very well, I will tell my tale. Wait, how does he remember? Now then, where to begin? As you know, the battle was fought over the land where Dalmond was expected to fall. In the beginning, neither side was able to gain an upper hand, but then the Imperials deployed their magic armor, our ranks were thrown into disarray. Those charged with protecting Louisoix like me could only watch the carnage from afar. Although our forces managed to hold out thanks to the adventurer contingent, we sustained grievous casualties. But the real tragedy was what followed. As Dalmond hurled towards us, it began shedding fragments of itself before finally bursting open to unleash the primal Bahamut. And that's a great visual. As all below looked on in shock, the battle completely forgotten, Bahamut took wing and spewed fire all over the land. Men in magic armor alike were set ablaze and sent flying like so many insects. I only realized I had stopped breathing when a commanding voice broke my trance. "You've done enough," Louisoix told us. "Now fly! Fly and save yourselves!" But like my fellow guards, I wanted to remain. I couldn't charge into battle beside my comrades, at the very least. I would do my duty here and protect Louisoix to the last. But upon seeing us standing there, not making a move, Louisoix smiled and spoke thus. "If you would give your lives to protect something, then protect my hopes. Every soul who lives to determine their own fate is a source of hope, bright and brilliant. So live, I bid you, and be among those who bear the light for the others to follow." Those words awakened us to a greater purpose. If there was hope in my living, then I would live as Louisoix bid. No matter what, I would survive. And so, together with my fellows, I began making my retreat. Alas, we hadn't gotten far when an explosion erupted and sent us sprawling. I struggled to my feet just in time to see the enormous, menacing silhouette of Bahamut looming over Louisoix. In the next instant, he was enveloped in light, and that was the last I remember of him. Louisoix's final moment. Amidst that light, he looked to be smiling. What he was thinking in that moment, I couldn't say. But one thing is certain, we all of us are alive thanks to him. Following the calamity, it was reported that Louisoix had defeated Bahamut and set about the land's miraculous regeneration. Do you believe this is the truth? Every soul who lives to determine their own fate is a source of hope. What we've learned has reaffirmed my belief, Berlian. The belief that Louisoix was not an all-powerful savior one reads about in tales, but merely an ordinary man. But that man never forsook Eorzea. No, he stood for this realm at the last. He and countless other brave souls, and saved it from being a scorched waste. Against the unimaginable adversary he fought, and at the cost of his life, paved the way to a brighter future for us all. The least I can do in return is tell his story, spread his message that where there is life, there is hope. Thanks to your account, I believe I found an angle for the biography. I'm truly grateful. Would you care to offer a prayer as well? The prayer that the light of hope which Louisoix preserved shall ever burn bright. Allow me to thank you again for recounting your experiences to us. Oh, I didn't see him there. I would have talked to him too. Nay, 'tis I who owes thanks to giving me the chance to share Louisoix's words. All these years I had avoided speaking for the moment of his passing out of respect, but it would not do to take the tale to my grave. Through the biography, it is my hope that his spirit will live on in all of us. Now then, if you'll excuse me, I shall resume my pilgrimage to the marks. Wherever your travels take you, I shall be praying for your safety. Nymea lilies, the symbol of safe passage. As Louisoix stood there in Carteneau, I wonder if he likewise prayed for someone's safety. At any rate, these interviews have yielded everything I had hoped for and more. Come, let's return to Ul'dah. I'll have your reward for you at Ul'dah at the Hall of Flames. Okay, let's head on back to Ul'dah. Let's see... Thanelin, Ul'dah. Alright, he should be right over here, and that'll be the end of this quest line. That was really cool. I didn't expect to get this kind of thing this time for Rising. There you are. I ended up troubling you longer than I had intended. It is a truly fruitful series of interviews. How fortunate that we could hear from those who lived that fateful time. While I still have many questions, biography is beginning to take shape in my mind. I also feel as though I've attained a measure of closure. Louisoix fought simply as one of us, and he made the ultimate sacrifice that hope might endure. This I've come to realize and appreciate thanks to everyone's heartfelt testimonies. Now then, last but not least, I'd like to ask you for your thoughts on something. According to Orn, Louisoix smiled in his final moments, as he was enveloped in light. What do you imagine he held in his mind? Images of mankind thriving in the future? It's possible to speculate. It's pointless to speculate on such things. Nah. I see. I appreciate your thoughts. As I pen the biography, I'll be certain to remember your words. Well, sad though it is time for us to part ways. I'll sit to work on a draft, and I won't rest until the biography goes to print. Thank you for all your help, my friend. I couldn't have come this far without you.